Three, two, one. Okay. Welcome back to Uptown Films Podcast. I'm your host, Gregory Hernandez, and today I'm joined by Erica A. Hart. She's a member of the Casting Society, and Erica A. Hart is an Artios Award-winning casting director whose work spans film, television, and Broadway. A Washington, D.C. native and NYU Tisch Film TV alum, Erica began her career at ABC Primetime Casting before transitioning to independent casting, where she has become a sought-after collaborator known for championing bold storytellers and distinctive voices. Her television credits include Black Mirror, a Black Lady sketch show, at Dan Michael Shea, Bust Down, The Girls on the Bus, The Equalizer, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, Jodie and the Survival of the Thickest. Her film work includes South by Southwest and Tribeca premieres such as Fucktoys, We Strangers, Vio Vio a Family, The Surrogate, Lapsis, Cupids, and Natives. On Broadway, Erica's credits include Chicken and Biscuits, Passover, Death of a Salesman, and Jaja's African Hair Braiding, with additional off-Broadway and regional casting credits, including Saturday Church of New York Theater Workshop, Churrasco, and the festival in the back of the National Black Theater, Scarlet Dreams for Midnight Theatricals, El Coqui and Gem of the Ocean and Long Wharf Theater, and more. Her additional work includes music videos for Her, Fight for You, Ghosted, Get Some, South by Southwest premiere, and alongside commercial campaigns for Zoran Mamdani, Geico, L'Oreal, Quaker Oats, Neiman Marcus, and others. Erica was named a Woman to Watch on Broadway in 2025. She is a board member of the Casting Society, a member of the Television Academy, a Teamster Local 817, and part of Black Theater's United New Guard. She writes and produces with past development deals at BET and WeTV. Erica also teaches at Yale University, NYU, and various institutions. Welcome, Erica A. Hart.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Nice to be here.
Yeah. So, without further ado,
Yes.
let's get into it. So, you and I were like the same age. We're 35. 15 years in the industry. You're a DC native, very well sought after, and a two-time Artios Award nominated for Black Lady Sketch Show and Death of a Salesman. I want to ask, one of the things I did deep dive on your Instagram is you've said it in interviews, casting or being a casting director is often or frequently misunderstood. Can you clear it up for us, for the audience, our viewers? What is a casting director? What do they do? What's misunderstood with casting?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me. It's a joy to be here. I think, first of all, we're in 2025, so I think we always have to say a casting director is a person. You know, a casting director is a person. They are responsible for finding the people that you see on screen, that you see on stage, that you see in a print campaign, that you might see in an art gallery. We are the detectives of the entertainment industry. We, search far and wide for the people that you see, in your entertainment field, or again, sometimes not even entertainment. Sometimes things are cast that you wouldn't even think about. But I think a big misconception is that we're mean. I think, there are some people who are, whatever it may be, but I think Hollywood has branded us to be villains. If you see anything with a casting directors are often depicted as villains. But what I try to tell people, especially actors, is the fact that we as casting directors are your biggest fans. We are the ones that are championing you. We are the ones that are fighting for you. We are the ones that want you to do well. So I think that's a common misconception, that we are villains, but we are not villains. We're here to help.
I love it. I want to get more into this. So can you describe like the work that you do? For some people, it's just like, okay, it's holding auditions. Like you make sure people are cast for appropriate primary, and background roles or what have you. Can you break it down? What is it that you do effectively on a day-to-day and per project basis?
Yeah, day-to-day. I think like anything in the entertainment industry or media industry is different for the day. I, like you said, might be holding auditions. I might be on calls all day talking to producers and showrunners and directors just about the concept of each character. Or, we might have a table read that day that we might have to cast people to read stage directions, or, auxiliary characters or utility characters. And so that might be the day. I might be making lists for a project that might be an indie film that might need stars to be attached in order to get their financing. So that might be during the day. I might go to a reading that I cast. I might go to a show that I cast, or just a show that I'm supporting someone, or just a show to scout. I might be going to a showcase to scout. I might be going through submissions, going through self-tapes, in this day and age. So it kind of depends on the day and the project that I'm working on. So right now I'm working on a couple of readings. And so that is like my day today. I woke up, I checked my emails, see what came in during the day and during the night. Because emails can start coming in at 4 a.m., especially for a project I'm working on now where the creatives are in London. So emails start coming in at 4 a.m. So I double check to see that I didn't miss anything, answer those emails. Not at 4 a.m., but, when they are needed. But then, send out offers, check avails for another reading, which means check to see if the people that are on the list that I created are available for the dates. Right. Talking to agents and managers. I sent out an offer yesterday. I got a couple of questions from some agents about the project. So going back to the creative team, seeing if, what we can do. So it's a lot of communicating. It's a lot of answering emails. It's a lot of admin. I think that's another thing that people might not know about casting. It is an admin heavy job. It's constant lists and constant. We love a Google sheet. We love a Google Doc, just of lists of different things. I write lists on like napkins sometimes. So it is a lot of admin work, but day to day, it changes by the day. But, sometimes it has something to do with talent all the time.
I love it.
Yeah.
So continuing on that, so you got your start in ABC Primetime Casting. Mm-hmm. How did you get that, and describe like those early experiences that I'm assuming benefited you, but also laid the groundwork for your 15-year career and going?
Yeah, no, I mean, I was very lucky that my first paying job was at ABC Primetime Casting. I did intern with NBC the year before, my senior year of casting, but it was an unpaid internship. What is that? That doesn't exist anymore. But
right. I feel like our generation was like the last one.
We were the last frontier to have that, but it was an unpaid internship. It was during school. It was 2 days a week.
Okay.
But I love telling the story of how I got my job at ABC Primetime Casting. So I graduated from school, and as you graduate, you look for a job. And my friend Joe was on NYU's job site, and they had a job for ABC Primetime Casting before a paid internship. And he was like, Erica, you have to apply to this. And I was like, but in big, bold letters, Joe, it says, do not apply unless you're a full-time student. And I had just graduated. And so I was like, I don't qualify for this because I'm not a full-time student. We just graduated. He was, a classmate of mine, and he was my roommate at the time. And he was like, but Erica's a paid internship, which we have just said that does not exist. It was paid internship. It was full-time. It was temporary. It was only from, I think it was like August until October. That's what it was supposed to be. But it was, 40 hours a week, paycheck, like, let's go. And he was like, Eric, you have to apply. And I was like, I don't want to apply because I'm going to get in trouble. So 22-year-old me was I wouldn't say very different, but a little different than 35-year-old me. 35-year-old me likes to follow rules, but 22-year-old Erica followed rules, And so I didn't want to apply, but I applied, and I was scared. And a couple days later, I get a phone call from this guy named Vince, and he says, hey, Erica, I see that you applied for the paid internship, but per your resume, you just graduated. I was like, I'm so sorry. He's like, no, hold on. He puts me on the phone with John Oliver, who at the time was the manager of ABC Primetime Casting in New York. And he said, so Erica, I see on your resume that you just graduated. And I just started apologizing. I'm like, I'm so sorry. He's like, you can't be an intern, but do you want to be an assistant? And what I always tell people with that story is you don't know what you don't know, right? That wasn't posted anywhere. They might have hired internally, but because of my job, my internship at NBC, and I was casting all through school, I didn't qualify for the internship, but I qualified for something bigger and better. And I got that job. And that job went from August to October, and then they got a pilot, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and it was the first Marvel pilot. And so my boss, Marcy Phillips, was like, you're not going anywhere because there's so many NDAs and so many things that like we have to deal with because it's Marvel. And so the August to October job turned into August to December. And then they were like, well, do you want to stay for pilot season? And I was like, sure, what's pilot season? Even though I did it at NBC, I didn't know the name of it. And they were like, oh, it's this, time where all the pilots, I was like, oh, okay, I got it. So August to October turned into August to December, turned into August to March, And so it was such a great foundation of what I am doing today. I was very lucky to work under John, to work under Marcy, to have Janet Murphy Butler in the office, to have Rosalie in the office, Rosalie Joseph in the office, and just see how they work. And because it was the network in the studio, I got to learn that language, because they are the ones that are putting on the shows. They are the execs. They are the things like that. So it was a great foundation, and working under Marcy is just the best because she is a wonderful, beautiful casting director, but a wonderful, beautiful person. And she showed me that you can be a person first and connect with people on a personal level and on a human level, and not just work.
I love that. And I love that you were two key takeaways for me on that is you had somebody that supported you, and Joe, like pushing you, go for this opportunity. And then it's like, wait, but I no longer qualify. You still did it. And then, hey, okay, we have something else for you. It's still, what I take away from that is like, still go after those opportunities.
100%.
Worst case, they say no, but also like full-time job for like, you still have to be in school.
That's what
I was
it
like,
was.
what? Even if it's for 2 months, I'm like, 40 hours. Like I did that during the summer. My summer paid intern, 2012 senior year. And then like it was over the summer. It was 3 months. Yeah. But like during like my time in college, I was like, oh, I have a unpaid internship that was part-time or something. But anyway, can you also for our audience, what is pilot season?
It's a thing of the past.
I was gonna say that sounds so antiquated.
Let's open up the book and like shoo off the cobwebs and move
TV
the
was
dust.
great. TV dominated.
Pilot season used to be in the time of old. Used to be a season, so it was classically like January to March, where about all the pilots were being made, but between that time for the big major networks, so ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, WB, right? And so it would be the craziest time of the year, and it would be crazy because like you just came back from the holidays, and then you were like shot out of a cannon, But it was what it was, I think at the most, and I did a pilot season at ABC from 2013 until 2018. Like that was my tenure. And then I did the pilot season at NBC. I just didn't know what it was called. Yeah, it was a crazy, crazy time. It was you were working on 20 pilots at once. You would get to the office at 8 a.m. You wouldn't leave until 1 a.m. that next morning. But there was an energy throughout the city because all of the actors were running. Like it was like, okay, you're at ABC, and then 30 minutes later you're at NBC, and then you have a call back over at Fox. And it was just the energy of pilot season. We talk about it all the time, for our old-timey casting professionals, aka like us, we talk about it all the time because it was just electric. It was electric. It was an energy, again, like just running around, phones off the hook. You would go into session, come back, you'd have 100 emails, and after it was done, it was done. And you'd be like, whoa, what happened for those like 9 weeks? But it was a good time. Yeah. So, I mean, in the moment, I was like, what? Who? I wouldn't shower.
Oh my God.
I wouldn't eat, but that was what it was. It was like, no one contact me between January and March, because that's what it is.
It's like 14, 16-hour days.
Oh, yeah.
Basically in the office.
Easy.
And it's just,
easy.
Oh my God. A lot of carbs.
A lot of carbs, a lot of M&Ms, a lot of chips.
Yeah.
Just keeping it going. Yeah.
Crafty.
Yeah. But you're in your 20s. You don't know. Like, you're just doing what you're doing. Yeah.
It is what it is. Like, your immune system is very nimble.
But I always got sick. Like, I always got sick. God. I would say, like,
winter.
mid-February is, like, when it, like, all just, like, boom. and we were all just like walking around being sick, but it was great.
I will say, and for someone who used to act, from my perspective, I had a great time with casting people and stage managers in college. However, I did hear from other people certain things like, oh, they have so much power. And it's like, yeah, because they speak on the phone, they speak via email, and they speak to you in person. So this is a people's business. And
100%.
yeah, you're like, you say the wrong thing. It's like, oh. So
Yeah.
I say all that to say, what was, I guess, like your transition into indie casting? Because you do a lot of that. You're sought after now, so you've made a name for yourself. What was that transition like, and how has that been working for you?
It was an easy transition because a couple of reasons. Number one, I was very lucky that I had the experience under my belt of casting my own things, right? So even when I was at ABC, I was still casting shorts on my own. I was still casting features on my own. I was still casting commercials on my own. And I was very lucky that I was allowed to do that. You know, it was a lot of 80-hour, 90-hour, 100-hour weeks, you know, because I would work during the day, but then I would hold session for my own stuff at night or during the weekends, you know.
Love it.
So it was definitely hustle and grind and push through, and, you know, but you're in your 20s. You can do that. Yeah, it was great. And what I've told a lot of budding casting directors is, or casting professionals is, if you were able to do this, which is be, you know, the casting assistant, be the associate casting director, or even the casting intern. But if you are someone else's casting director, that gives you the foundation that when the call does come to cast a show or cast a big movie or cast a Broadway show, you have piloted the plane before. It might not be the 747, but you have piloted a plane before. And so now it's just like, oh, this button's over here now. Okay, that button's over there now. Oh, the steering wheel's a little bit bigger, but I know how to use these tools. So I was very lucky. And also the transition from working at ABC to working at an independent office, that was a beautiful transition and an easy transition because I worked with Meredith Tucker, who is a force and a gem of a human and a master at casting. So I learned so much from her. And also, just on the logistical side, I got very lucky in my career. The show that I left ABC to help Meredith with and work with Meredith was Godfather of Harlem. It was the first season of Godfather of Harlem, and you'd be like, oh, okay, that's cool. But the cool thing was, it was ABC Studios. And so the execs that I had been talking to for years when I was working at ABC were the execs of the show that I was talking to when I then moved to an independent office. So it was like as smooth a transition as it possibly could be, because I was still talking to the people that I was talking to for years already.
I love that. And again, my takeaway is, if you're interviewing for new jobs or what have you, it's like, I've done this job already.
You've done it.
And it's like, oh, okay.
You've done it. Just different. I mean, you know, everything's different. You know, different people, different process. Especially for television, you know, it's an evolving medium. So each episode has a different director, you know, so you might be dealing with some different things there. But that thought process of, I've done this before, so I can do it again, that is literally my whole career. You know, I always say it's like, and that's how I got into casting. When I was an 18-year-old, I did not know what a casting director was, but I knew the term audition because I was a dancer. And so I was like, well, I know audition, so that means I can be the casting director. And that has been literally my whole career. It's like, oh, I know this, so that means I know the whole dictionary, you know? And it hasn't stopped me so far.
No, clearly not. You're amazing. I mean, you're kind of already answering my next question. Like, how did you get to this level?
Yeah.
Can you describe any mentors or workflows or things of that nature, tips, or basically how have you been able to ascend in this to this level of, again, you're sought after, you've done film, you've done TV, you've done theater, you've done music videos. How have you been able, for listeners who are maybe looking to get into casting, is we both have experience in workforce development from LaGuardia Community College. If you're looking to get into casting or becoming a casting assistant in long term, how have you gotten to that level where you can walk into a room and it's like, oh, we're casting this, I know how to do this.
Yeah. I think number one, I know I'm kind of woo-woo, but it's trusting yourself, number one. And it goes back to the story about how, you know, I got the job at ABC. You can't be the person to say no. You always have to be the person to say yes. There are going to be hundreds, if not thousands, of people that will tell you no, but only you, can be the person that always says yes. Now if it's weird, if people are uncomfortable, feel it out, use your instincts. But if you are curious about something, especially in this industry, if you are curious about something and you're like, you know what, why not be a PA today? Just show up, and that's what has carried me through this career, is just showing up. You want me to do? Yeah. A friend of mine said, your superpower is you just do it.
Availability.
You just do it, and I think I try not to pigeonhole myself in the mediums, I will do a film, I will do a podcast, I will do a short series, I will do a movie, I will do a read, I will do a host search, I try not to pigeonhole myself of I am only a theater casting director, I am only a TV casting director. I try to just cast. I'm a casting director, so I just cast. I've been really lucky to have, like you said, mentors and bosses who, again, didn't just see me as an employee, but saw me as a person and asked me how I was doing, and, oh, you seem a little off today. What's that about? Actually took the time to nurture the person and not just the employee. And I try to take that with me, with anybody who works with me. So I've been very lucky in that regard. And also, just show up and do good work. I think, yes, showing up is the first part, but doing good work so that people can trust you. Oh, we're going to hire Gregory. Everything's going to be dead. It's everything's going to be set and we're all going to be fine about it. I think, reputation is everything in this business because, like you said, everyone talks, and you just want to make sure that when you show up, you are a person of your word and you do exactly what you say you're going to do.
Definitely a valuable lesson. What's the favorite part of your job? Or what's a favorite part of your job?
The favorite part of my job is just seeing the actors grow. I think, I've been in this business since 2008, my freshman year of college, and to see the actors that I was bringing in for student films blossom and grow and make their Broadway debuts, and, even seeing actors that I have seen in school graduate and blossom, or even people that I've just seen around and they book their first TV gig, out and about working. Also, even just in the career, just seeing actors that were in school graduate and book big jobs, or even book little jobs, whatever it may be, just to see them on their journey has been a joy. Not to say that I've had any input in that, but it's just to see where they began and see where they are going, because this whole business is about progression and movement and things like that. And, getting an email and being like, hey, you were my first audition after the pandemic, or, after the pandemic, you were my first recur, you gave me my first recur, or you gave me my first co-star. I've been doing theater for so long, and this is my first TV credit. Those are the things that really make me get up and do this job.
Yeah, I thank you for that answer. I don't recall the names, but there are some casting directors who were credited for starting the careers of Al Pacino,
everybody.
And Tom Cruise,
yeah.
And it's cast Al Pacino, he undresses you with his eyes, or cast Tom Cruise because he has so much energy, blah blah blah, and there's shots of these actors hugging the casting director.
Yeah.
And it's so
and that's why I said, and that's why I said the biggest misconception is that we're villains, but we aren't, we are trying to give people opportunity. I can't give anybody a job. I think, another thing is that we are not the final say. There's so many people that have to say yes before someone gets to set or someone gets to stage, but we are the first. We are the ones to bring you in and, ask for your self-tape or bring you into the room and have conversations with you. And so we are the first stop along this long journey into night. And just to see, again, I could be working on something for 3 months, let alone 3 years. And just to see that journey is yes, you are our person. You are our person from the beginning, and look at you now. Love it.
Yeah. So we discussed spanning different mediums. What are some maybe differences that you've encountered? If you could talk a little bit about working casting and versus music videos, film, TV, theater. What are some maybe key differences that maybe people within the industry or not could, maybe you're not aware of?
Money and time. Money and time. Those are the two biggest things. And you see this in the actual span of each thing, right? So a commercial is 15, 30, 60 seconds. So you have 15, 30, 60 seconds to cast it. I can be hired for a commercial in the morning and it be cast at night or even in the afternoon.
Wow.
It's quick, like the Fight for You music video. I had to cast 50 people in a weekend. And it was a snowstorm. And it was amazing. And I was at home. I was in DC during this, casting people for here. But it was amazing. And it turned out great, time and money. A show like The Equalizer that I co-cast. We have 8 days to cast it, regardless of how many people are in it. You could have 3 characters that you need to cast, or you could have 30 characters that you need to cast. The time doesn't change. You get your script, you put out your breakdown, you make your lists, you get your tapes, or you audition people, and then you have to close them, usually by day 4 or 5, because they have to get to costumes, they have to get fitted, and you have a table read probably by day 7. So you basically have like 5 days to cast the show, but in an 8-day span, because they have 8 days to shoot it. So while they're shooting the episode prior, you are casting the episode to come, right? So it's a fast machine. Television, that's television. Film, you have a little bit more time sometimes, depending. So like, especially indie films like The Surrogate or We Strangers or things like that. I was on that for years, Surrogate took about 3 or 4 years to cast, just because you're getting the money and things like that. But once you get the money, The Surrogate, it was like, we got the money, we had 2 weeks to cast it, Usually you would get the money, maybe you have 8 to 10 weeks to cast your full film. So that's that. And then theater, depending on the medium, you could have 3 months to cast it.
Oh, wow.
You could have a full year to cast it. You could have 6 years to cast it, especially something like a musical that, you start off with your reading, then your workshop, then another workshop, then maybe another workshop, then an out-of-town tryout, then bringing it back, then maybe an off-Broadway show, then maybe it goes to Broadway. So you're like, so Saturday Church was a 3-year process, which is actually quick, but it's still 3 years. So money and time.
So I've been really waiting to ask you this question. I wanted to sneak this in, but before I get to that one, since we just talked about the different mediums, I must ask about, I didn't write this on, about COVID and how that's affected casting.
Sure.
I'm understanding a lot of this is now virtual.
Yeah.
How has that impacted your workflow, and how do you think it's impacted, I can say like your clients, I'm saying the actors that, you've worked over the years are like, how do they feel about this? I've asked this on my podcast before with actors from their perspective. So I know their perspective. I want to ask now the casting director's perspective. How has COVID affected casting?
I mean, it's affected everything, I think regardless of what industry you're in, I think there was an article that said, all the terms that we use now that are because of COVID, in person. It's like, what was that in 2019?
Real life?
Like virtual, like we're using these terms, of course, social distancing and things like that we weren't using before the pandemic. It was just assumed, like we wouldn't have to say like, oh, it's an in-person audition. It's like, yeah, that's what we do, but now you do have to specify what type of audition it is, because it could be virtual, it could be, which would be a Zoom audition or an EcoCast Live or whatever medium you're using, or it could be a self-tape audition, where the actors tape themselves, or it could be in person, where you come in and it's 2019 and you audition, in the room. So now you have to specify, where before it was just assumed, or not even assumed, it was just what it was. So I think the process has changed. Film and TV, for the most part, is still virtual, be it self-tape or on Zoom, just because a lot of casting directors don't have offices. It's not that we don't want to be in person. I won't say all of us. A lot of us, would love to be in person. It's just we don't have the brick and mortar of it all, because the brick and mortar, as we all know, sitting in a studio costs money, and certain people who are above us don't want to pay for that.
Yeah. mean, you could always just rent out my studio.
but that costs money. It ain't free. You wait. You gonna send me an invoice.
Yes.
So we've started being back in the room for big callbacks, or even just like, hey, let's go into a space and have people come in. But it's not because we don't want to. It's because everything costs money, and the people that are signing the checks aren't signing the checks.
Do you think it's because since COVID, they're like, oh, this is an expense we can cut down?
Sure. I mean, that's with everything,
Yeah.
It's sort of like, well, you all did it during the pandemic, so we can keep doing it until it's not done anymore, So, yeah, I mean, we're 5 years into this, and, things have changed a little bit, but I'm still casting from my dining room table.
Love it.
Still casting from my dining room table. But with theater, it's different because theater, of course, is a live medium, and at some point, we are going to see these people. So with theater, there will always be an in-person element, usually during callbacks, sometimes first round, but usually during callbacks. But with film and TV, and also, with the quickness of it all and people's expectations, what I've told people is it's here to stay. So buckle up.
Buckle up, we shall. One question for my fellow actors. I must ask, what's one tip you have for their self-tips?
I just need to hear you and see you. You don't have to have these beautiful lights that you have. You're giving me soft light. You're giving me this, with the barn doors. I don't need anything fancy. You have beautiful, fancy cameras. Whatever your phone does is amazing. These phones, especially the newer ones, are shooting in 4K.
8K. Mine does
8K. Let's go. Okay, I didn't even know we're talking about carats. You got an 8-carat phone. Just kidding. Yeah, these phones are doing well. They're fine. If you don't have a tripod, use some books. If you don't have a light, put on a lamp. I just need to hear you and see you. That's it.
I love it. I wanted to ask this.
Yeah.
Which episode or episodes did you cast for Black Mirror?
So I cast 2 episodes in season 6.
Oh, okay.
I cast the Zazie Beetz episode, and I cast the Aaron Paul episode.
I gotta watch that one. I have not seen that one.
Yeah.
Okay. What was that experience like?
It was really fun. I was very lucky to collaborate with Gina J, who's again, I'm just so lucky that I get to collaborate with a lot of forces. And I got the call, and that was really cool because I was casting 3 shows at once, but they were all different in different process. Okay. So, and different time zones, right? Oh, so wow. I was casting Black Mirror, which hub is in Europe. Then I was casting Girls on the Bus in New York. Mm-hmm. Then I was casting a Black Lady sketch show in LA. Mm. So I would start to get emails at 4 a.m. and then 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I would start getting emails for Black Mirror. 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'd start getting emails for Girls on the Bus. And then 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I would start getting emails for a Black Lady sketch show. And then the emails really didn't stop until like midnight.
How did you manage that?
I was very fortunate and lucky to have a rock star associate casting director named Daniel Frankel, who was holding it down. And then I also had another rock star associate casting director named Brianna Dunlay, who was holding it down. But it was very much of asking, so what time is it? Like, what time is it? What is it we doing? And I was also very lucky that each of those shows needed 3 different things, right? So a Black Lady sketch show, that was just offers because we cast celebrities in that show. So that was one process. Girls on the Bus was a full process, because that was a full-on episodic, episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. So that was literally a bus that kept going, which was, I loved that show. And then Black Mirror, I was only hired for 2 episodes and like 3 or 4 characters in that episode, and it only had to be New York. So it was 3 different processes for 3 different shows. I think if it was like 3 different full buses, I don't think I would be able to do that, especially time zone wise. But it was great. It was fun.
Wow. Have you ever done anything since then where it's like 3 different shows, 3 different time zones?
No, not like that. I mean, wow. I'm doing 2 readings right now, but the one that will be read here, but their creatives are in London. And then I'm doing another reading that is here, but I have yet to do 3 TV shows on 3 different time zones. but I did it once, so I'll do it again.
I feel like that's just an amazing star or stat on your resume. It's like, I did this. Oh, wow. So you're also within the union, Local 817.
There it is.
So I believe it's casting, it's transportation, and locations.
That's it.
And they're like the biggest, I guess, in terms of budget or I don't know, like funding. They're the biggest union, which I think makes sense when it's transportation and location. So how does casting fit in? No, I'm kidding.
We fit in. We are very, very, very lucky to be union members, and it's film and TV union, film and TV casting professionals, casting directors, associate casting directors, and recently casting assistants are unionized. Unfortunately, our theater brothers and sisters and siblings aren't able to be Teamsters. That's a whole long story that we do not have time for on this podcast.
Okay, we'll get you back on.
But specifically, union members are film and TV casting professionals in New York, LA.
How did you get into the union, and what are some benefits of being a member?
I got into the union in 2018 when I left ABC to join Meredith Tucker on Godfather of Harlem. And so that's when I joined the union, when I was her associate casting director on that project. And I've been a union member since. I've been very lucky to be a union member since. And with all unions, you know, it gives you a level of protection. It gives you a level of knowing that someone has your back, that someone can look out for you on your behalf. It gives you healthcare. You know, gives you a pension, gives you benefits, and it gives you community. You know, I'm lucky that I was on the steering committee. I've been on the steering committee for the last 2 negotiations. And so, you know, I've been a part of a community of casting professionals. And it just brings us all together because oftentimes, a lot of the times when you are on the same side, you often don't see each other. But because of having, you know, the union or even, you know, CSA, you are able to come together and be in a community.
Love it. And speaking of CSA, you're also a board member.
Yeah.
How did you become what is CSA? If you could explain that, and then also you being in the union, but also you're a board member. How did you get that role?
So Casting Society is a global organization of casting professionals. So we are all over the world. We are over 1,100 members at this point of casting directors, associate casting directors, casting producers, casting executives, again, global, all around the world. And we are an organization, we're a society. We're not a union, we're not a guild, but we are a society that is dedicated to uplift the profession, uplift its members and casting in general, just because it's so niche. And a lot of people, you know, don't know about it, but we as a society are committed to uplifting casting directors and budding casting professionals. And as I say, spreading the gospel of casting and really educating people about casting and celebrating ourselves and, you know, hosting panels and different workshops and different talkbacks and different events for casting directors to just uplift us and celebrate us.
What do you do as a board member?
Yes,
what's
as
kind
a
of like their
board
responsibility?
member, yes. I do a lot of things. I call myself the water because I kind of like fit into places. If anybody needs something, I'm there. So a couple of things that I do, I produce the New York Artios alongside some killer people, Elizabeth Barra, Matt Glassner, Rachel Reese. We produce the Artios Awards in New York City. And then I'm also the co-chair with Carly Famelant of the Festivals and Panels Committee. So we, you know, we're going to be at Sundance this year.
Yeah, great.
So, you know, we've produced a panel or, you know, 2020. Well, no, we are in 2026. Wow.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. So yeah, you know, we produced a panel, producing a panel at Sundance, and, you know, again, just making sure that casting is in the conversation. Yeah. This year will be the first year that a casting director will accept an Academy Award for casting.
You think you're going to be it?
I'm sorry?
You think you're going to be it?
No.
Be it.
No. Francine Maisler won the Critics' Choice. That was the first one. You know, the first time a casting director won a Critics' Choice Award. So that was really exciting. And so in March, a casting director will accept for the first time. And so it's really cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I know it's been a journey for casting
Yeah.
to be nominated, but
Yeah.
also acknowledged,
Yeah.
as well as stunt
Yes.
choreographers and
Yes.
coordinators and stunt people. So yeah, more recognition.
100%.
I want to also get into a last couple of things before we get into rapid fire.
Yeah.
Workforce development. So
Mhm.
how we met when I spent a couple of years at LaGuardia Community College doing workforce development within film and television. I oversaw grip, casting, and I think we were going to do locations before I left in virtual production. I didn't do a production accounting, but we did casting, and that's how we met last year. Could you talk a little bit about, I guess, your experience within workforce development and
Yeah.
potentially anything you've done as a mentor and an advocate?
Yeah.
Or a mentor advocate.
You know, I think we are only as strong as the people that are coming behind us. And it's very important to me to make sure that the industry, specifically casting, has a strong force coming. Be it budding casting assistants, associate casting directors, whatever it may be, that we keep the train going. And I think it's very important to mentor people that want to be in this business, because there's so many gates in this business, and we all hold keys at some point.
Yeah.
And figuring out how one could help, even if it's just taking 15 minutes to demystify what's happening or to answer any questions. Because a lot of the times in this business, you won't know the language until you're in it. Right? So if I said, Gregory, go into breakdown, make me a link with all the A's that are in the EcoCast Untitled podcast, if you make me a link with all the A's, and if all the B's, you can double check their avails, and the C, can you get the reels and make sure that all things make sense, and then make another EcoCast for that, you have no idea what I'm saying. Like it's Russian, basically.
I know it's a lot of work.
It's
though.
a lot of work, but you have no idea what I'm saying. I'm speaking English, but you have no idea what I'm saying.
What is the thing? Eco what?
Correct, right?
No, seriously, what is that?
It's called EcoCast. Yeah. But you have no idea what I'm saying. And so a lot of the job is getting the job and learning on the job. And so I think, the program that we did was to say, okay, day one, you're a casting assistant, go. And we had brilliant casting professionals come in and usher those 15 students through, casting a pilot, whatever that may be. So I think it's just very important just to answer any questions that somebody might have, or, take somebody under your wing. Because I was lucky that I had a few people that did that with me. And I just want to give back as much as I can.
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then last question before we get into a rapid fire. Biggest lessons you've learned from 2025? It could be professionally or personally.
Yeah, I think 2025 was a doozy, to say the least. It was a doozy. Let's just put it that way. I think the biggest thing I learned was people are going to do what they're going to do. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter who you are to them. It doesn't matter how old they are. It doesn't matter if they're richer than you, if they're not as rich as you, if they are, been in this business for X amount of years or just starting. It doesn't matter how, you're going to react. It doesn't matter how woke they are or the ally, whatever. It doesn't matter any of that. People are going to do what they're going to do regardless of how it affects you. And so I think that was probably the biggest lesson. I know it's a little depressing, but 2025 wasn't the funnest, but I think that's what I learned. And also at the other side, it doesn't rain forever. There will be a stop of the rain. You will be able to put away your umbrella and the sun will come out. But yeah, I think it's you said it, it's a business of people. And, you won't know until you know. I think I started off this podcast saying that, but you won't know until you know.
One last question I want to sneak in. Yeah. You talked about EcoCast.
Yeah.
What are some, I guess, for people looking to get into casting?
Yeah.
Maybe is there like an app free or not, that maybe they should look into, like when I'm telling cinematographers, look at Shot Deck. If you're in production coordinator, like, Movie Magic or things like that. So is there a screenwriting, Screencraft, Celtics, is there like a free app or a paid app that maybe if you're looking to get into casting, you should look into?
So there's Breakdown Express, there's Casting Networks, there's site Casted, Casting Frontier, casting.com. There are many sites that you can go. I know Breakdown Express, if you call, they'll give you a tutorial. I believe Casting Networks as well. And these sites are free for casting directors. So yeah, I would say those are the sites to look out for.
I love it. Erica A. Hart, where can our followers and listeners find your work or follow your journey?
Yes, elove67 on Instagram. It is everything. You will see me, posting this. You will see me post about casting, but then you will see me out and about with friends. I don't have a specific casting Instagram or a specific personal Instagram. It is all encompassing, just because I can only keep up with one at the moment. So elove67, and then my website, hartcasting.com.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you'd like to share?
No, this was great. Thank you so much for having me. Happy 2026.
Thank you. Your first interview for 2026.
Lego!
So thank you so much starting us off this year.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Thank you so
Thanks
much,
for having
Erica.
me.